Stray Dogs, Happily Ever After Scrapbook. By MsAlexWP. Chapter 1, I Got This. Harry, do you know what proposing means? Harry gave Sirius an incredulous look and put his hands on his hips. Padfoot, I'm 8 years old. Of course I know what proposing means. Oh, okay, sorry, I was just making sure, Sirius said. Since you know all about it, I was wondering if you would help me propose to Moony. You want me to help you propose to Moony? The fact that Harry already called Remus Daddy half the time, because Teddy told him he was allowed to, never failed to make Sirius's heart swell. Would you? Sirius asked. Yeah. What do I have to do? Sirius looked around conspiratorially, leaned forward, and motioned for Harry to come closer. Harry's eyes widened, and he crawled onto Sirius's lap, eager to be part of the plan. I need you to get him out of the house for a little while, Sirius whispered. Do you think you and Teddy could ask him to take you to the playground with the dogs? Yeah. Harry whispered back. And I can cry if you want me to. Use that as a last resort, Sirius said, stifling a laugh. So you think you can handle it? It's a big job. Harry's chest puffed a little as he replied. Don't worry, Patty, he said. I got this. Chapter 2, The Surprise. Can we come out yet? Remus called from the living room. No. We'll tell you when you can come out. Harry called back. But we need help. Teddy said quietly from the other side of the door, and Remus and Sirius exchanged a worried look. No, we don't. Everything is fine. Harry said back. Remus and Sirius had been banished to the living room while Teddy and Harry made a surprise for them in the kitchen. They'd been in there for an hour. With the door shut. You don't think they're burning the house down, do you? Remus whispered. They know they're not allowed to use the stove, Sirius replied, but he didn't sound convinced. He stood up and pressed his ear to the door, and Remus followed him, kneeling underneath him and doing the same. Just clean it up with a towel, they heard Harry say. But it's all sticky, Teddy replied, and Remus and Sirius exchanged a look. That doesn't sound good, Remus winced, and Sirius shook his head. You forgot the flowers. Teddy yelled. Shush! Harry hissed. There was a moment of silence, then the door opened abruptly. Remus and Sirius stumbled out from behind it and into the kitchen. Harry and Teddy stood shoulder to shoulder, and Harry counted in a whisper. 1, 2, 3. Your anniversary dinner is served, the boys announced together, putting their arms up with a flourish. Teddy took Remus by the hand, and Harry took Sirius, and they dragged them across the kitchen, past the sink that was piled high with dirty dishes, past the puddle of sticky honey on the floor, which Ziggy and Bowie were busy licking up, and to the kitchen table. It was set with a tablecloth, the fancy china, and plates of dinner, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, 2 whole apples. Teddy and Harry still weren't allowed to use the sharp knives alone, 2 champagne glasses filled with milk, and 2 heaping, melting, dripping ice cream sundaes. In the middle of the table was a vase filled with flowers that were clearly pulled from the backyard, some with the roots still on the bottom and with dirt floating in the water. And above the table was a banner written in crayon and taped crookedly to the wall reading. Happy anniversary Daddy and Patty. Thank you, it's beautiful. Sirius said, kissing them both on the tops of their heads. Yes, thank you, this looks delicious. Remus agreed, as they sat down. Bon appetit. Harry said, and Remus and Sirius tried not to laugh at how sweet and cute it was. Instead, Sirius raised his glass of milk and Remus did the same. Happy anniversary, Moony, my love. Happy anniversary, Pads. Chapter 3, Brambles. You're eating them all, Teddy. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Harry said. Daddy, look, Teddy's eating all the raspberries. Remus looked over at Teddy, who wore the evidence of Harry's accusation all over his berry-stained face. Teddy, don't forget to put some of the berries in the basket, he said. We won't be able to make jam if we eat them all now. Granny Hope had set Harry and Teddy a very important task that morning, to fill 2 huge baskets with as many raspberries and blackberries as they could carry. The morning mist was still rising from the trees when the boys took off down the rolling hill behind her house, pushed open the wooden garden gate, and picked their way through the winding, wild brambles, plucking the fat fruits from the bushes and dropping them into their baskets. Or in Teddy's case, simply eating them straight off the vine. Sorry, Daddy, said Teddy, who was now making quite a show out of carefully adding the berries to his basket and only eating a few when he thought no one was looking. Good morning, sunshine, said a voice behind Remus, and he turned to see his husband walking toward him, still in his pajamas, and carrying 2 cups of coffee. Morning, darling, Remus said, kissing Sirius and taking one of the cups. Thank you. Sirius wrapped an arm around Remus's waist and pulled him close. Remus leaned his head on Sirius's shoulder and watched the boys as they wandered further into the quiet woods. Having fun? Sirius asked. Yeah. Not many of Teddy's berries are actually making it into the basket, though. Can't blame him for that, Sirius said. I did the same thing when I was a kid in my grandmother's backyard, Remus said. I certainly didn't, Sirius laughed. In fact, I don't think I've ever picked a raspberry in my life. Or anything else for that matter. What? That's so sad. Well, the blacks aren't exactly one with nature, Sirius said. Come on, you can do it now, then, Remus said, and he took Sirius by the hand, led him toward the brambles, and within an hour, both boys had filled their baskets and Sirius's lips were just as berry-stained as Teddy's.